The Philippine Basketball Association Draft is an annual event in the PBA calendar in which teams can acquire new players outside the league which are not free agents in an agreed-upon order. The draft began in 1985. Prior to that, teams recruited rookies on a direct hire basis. Eligibility: all players have to be natural-born Filipinos. Persons who elected Filipino citizenship at the age of maturity are considered as natural-born citizens. For local players, must be 21 years old at the day of the draft. If under 21 years of age, the player must have completed 4 years of college. A college graduate or 4 years removed from his high school graduation must play at least one conference in the PBA D-League or for the Philippine national basketball team. For Filipino foreigners, same requirements as locals except, must play at least 2 conferences in the PBA D-League. If 27 years old or older, the player may no longer play in the PBA D-League. Present documentation from the Department of Justice and the Bureau of Immigration and Deportation to prove their Filipino citizenship. Imports, or non-natural-born Filipinos, do not enter the league via the draft. They are directly signed by teams, and only play in reinforced conferences. Naturalized citizens can only play in the league as imports. Order: the natural drafting order is determined by the team's final rankings within each conference from the previous season, with rankings from the PBA Philippine Cup having heavier weight. The team with the 2 worst points participate in the draft lottery, while the team with 3rd worst winning percentage picking 3rd, and the team with best winning percentage picking last in the first round. In the second round, the natural drafting order is followed: the team with the worst winning percentage will pick first, then the second worst will pick second. The worst and second worst team will change places in the following rounds. The drafting order is also subject to change if a team deals their draft picks in trades. Draft lottery: like in the National Basketball Association draft, a draft lottery determines which team gets the first overall draft pick, but in a much smaller scale. Only the 2 worst performing teams in the preceding season participate. The team with the worst record has a 67% chance of clinching the number 1 seed, while the second worst only gets a 33% chance. The draft lottery is usually held prior to the finals of the final conference of the season. Number of rounds: starting in the 2005 draft, the league has limited the draft into 2 rounds, with all undrafted players will become free agents. Prior to 2005, drafting goes on until all the teams have passed. However, in the 2011 PBA draft, the league allowed the draft to continue until all teams have passed. The 2-round restriction of the draft was attributed to an agreement between the PBA and the Philippine Basketball League, which also included a development fee to the PBL team from which the player was drafted. This was removed in 2011 as the PBL had folded, and amateur players played in the PBA D-League instead. Undrafted players automatically become free agents and can sign up with any team. Expansion draft: there are 3 expansion drafts in the league's history. The first was in 1990, in which the new teams Pepsi Hotshots and the Pop Cola Sizzlers selected up to 6 players from the expansion pool, which is made up of 3 players from each of the 6 existing franchises. The second was in 2000, where newcomers Baitang Red Bull Energizers selected players from the draft. An expansion draft for new teams Blackwater Elite and Kia Sorrento was held on July 18, 2014, so that both teams can form its rosters for the 2014 Euro 15 season. The 10 existing PBA franchises protected up to 12 players in their roster. 2-time MVP Danny Ildefonso of the Meralco Bolts was selected as the first pick of the expansion draft by Blackwater, followed by Rael Cervantes of Barraco Bull by Kia. Carryover amateurs: if a new franchise also has an existing franchise from the Philippine Basketball League, the franchise may be given by the PBA an option of selecting from their PBL team several players to be directly elevated to their PBA team. This was last given to the Welcoat Dragons, who elevated 3 players from their PBL team. This is no longer the option for new franchises which were formerly PBA D-League franchises. List of first overall picks: Flags indicate the country where the player studied college. All players are Filipinos until proven otherwise, like Sonny Alvarado's case where he fled the country as his citizenship was being questioned. Locsin studied at St. Benilde while he was playing for De La Salle. Aguilar played for Ateneo before playing for WKU. Slaughter played for UV before playing for Ateneo. By school, references.